Ryan Reynolds here for, I guess, my 100th Mint commercial. No, don't. No. I mean, honestly, when I started this, I thought I only have to do like 4 of these. I mean, it's unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month. How are there still people paying 2 or 3 times that much? I'm sorry, I shouldn't be victim blaming here. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/save. Whenever you're ready.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
Today on CityCast Boise. After a failed school levy, the Caldwell School District implemented a pay-to-play system for student sports and activities. So cross-country coach Alexis Martinez is joining me to break down how this new system is impacting students and why he thinks the district fell short on getting the levy passed. Plus, we find out how he's using nearly $10,000 he raised for Caldwell students. It's Monday, August 26th. I'm Lindsay Van Allen, and this is what Boise's talking about. In May, Caldwell voters rejected a supplemental levy forcing the Caldwell School District to cut $4.1 million from the budget. And because of this, pay to play was the response. So what exactly is pay to play?
Yeah, so the pay-to-play fee is going to be a $100 fee that every student athlete who wants to participate in any fall sport will need to pay just to be on the team. That doesn't pay for, uniforms. That doesn't pay for. It's literally just to be on the team. It does pay for transportation.
Can I just ask, just because I'm not familiar, how is this different from how extracurricular activities worked other school years in the Caldwell School District?
Typically, the students would fundraise anyway, but the items that they would fundraise for were the extras, right? The cherry on top. So say, hey, this year we need new uniforms. Oh, so we're going to have to fundraise maybe a little bit extra. Or say we have our spirit packs. Say we want new pullovers or something this year, or we want to pay for our team t-shirts. Hey, let's do a car wash, or let's do let's sell concessions at the football games throughout the year, and we can raise money so that we don't have to, pay for those things out of our pockets. This is a completely extra fee, and it's totally different than from when I was in high school. You didn't have to pay just to be on the roster. You paid for t-shirts and stuff and extra trips out of town. Those extras, I think it's tradition to. And, it's good to teach the kids the value of a dollar and stuff, but this is to pay to exist on the sports team is really a sad state of affairs, I think, for high school athletics. And I know a lot of other schools in the Valley have been doing this for a long time already, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's the way that public education should be. That's not right.
Well, and it's kind of hard when that suddenly becomes the rule in a district, and now students and families have to compensate. And I was reading that this doesn't just affect athletics. So students who are doing band, choir, speech, debate, cheer, they all have to pay $100 to participate. They can't just be in that activity.
Oh, yeah. And that's just really the tip of the iceberg. There were student resource officers that were on staff at the high school, so Caldwell police officers that were there every day. They no longer are going to be on staff at the high school. There were lots of teachers who lost their jobs at the high school. Lincoln Elementary School completely closed. Hundreds of students are now going to one building, Syringa Middle School. They're all shoved in there. So you can only imagine what that does to the student to teacher ratios, which were already high.
Yeah.
It's not just transportation for athletics, but transportation for everybody at the high school who needed it to get to school is not a thing anymore. So it was pretty far-reaching, and within just 2-3 months of the school year starting, it was pretty devastating, I think, for the community to watch that happen.
I was going to say, it sounds like it's had really widespread impact on not that it's not important, but not just athletes, not just students who want to do these extra activities, but the teachers, the, ability to have appropriately sized classrooms.
Yeah, and you also take into account the demographic. Just financially, Caldwell and that side of the valley has historically been the area with the lowest median household income. Typically, it's also a lot higher when it comes to like single parent households too, which logistically can be pretty hard if you're all of a sudden a single, you're a single parent and you're trying to take your kids to school, go to work, pick them up. Logistically, would be very difficult too. So, if there was one community that this really shouldn't happen in because it needs it the most, it would certainly be it would be Caldwell.
Yeah, maybe the group with the least amount of excess resources to handle the impact of this kind of a vote, or the lack of money and funding going to their schools.
Absolutely, yeah. But the community, I've seen a lot of coaches and a lot of teachers be really resilient and come up with short-term solutions to lessen the impact as much as possible. It's been nice to kind of see that community pull together so quickly. It's sad that this had to happen in order for us to do that. But we are a community where we're really close knit. So we've come up with some short-term solutions that help. They certainly don't cover everything, but they'll help kind of soften the blow a little bit.
Well, and you were one of the people who has really stepped up and worked for the students of Caldwell. You raised over $9,000 for students this year. How are those funds being used? How are you using them?
Yeah. So I cannot take the credit for that. I put up a GoFundMe page through a 501c3 organization that my wife and I started last year, kind of in anticipation of something like this happening, but mostly due to the not corporate red tape, but the governmental red tape that the school district imposes on funds that are raised by sports teams. And thankfully, because of that, we were able to get registered with GoFundMe, because you have to be on the IRS registry in order to do that. And that's the only reason that we were able to put it up there. And then there was a gentleman who donated the vast majority of those funds on behalf of his loved one who had worked at Caldwell High School for a couple of decades, Susie Greenfield. So thanks in large part, thanks to him, thanks to everybody else who donated on there. At least for our cross country kids, we're going to cover that pay to play fee for them.
Oh, wow.
If they decide to do track in the spring, we'll cover the pay to play fee associated with the track season as well. Every year, we also take a trip to bandana running and walking at the end of the summer. Every kid who showed up to preseason all summer long, and if they participate in the fundraiser, we'll buy them a pair of training shoes, regardless of the cost. A lot of times it's a good pair of running shoes that's going to last is anywhere between $150 to $180. Yeah. So we actually just did that. So when I heard that we were losing that funding, I thought, oh, well, shoot, the money that we normally raise is going to have to go to pay this fee. I don't want to have to choose between paying the fee and doing our annual shoe buy and going to, it's just not a good decision to have to make. Right. But thankfully, thankfully we don't have to make that decision.
Think you know the Brooks Ghost? Think again. Introducing the all-new, better-than-ever Ghost 16. Now with nitrogen-infused cushioning for lightweight, supreme softness that feels good every step, every street, every single day. So go ahead, take your daily joyride in the all-new nitrogen-infused Ghost 16. It'll turn your everyday miles into everyday endorphins. Let's run there. Head to brooksrunning.com to learn more.
Make this new school year an opportunity for your kids to learn important life skills with Greenlight. Greenlight is a debit card and money app for families where kids learn how to save, invest, and spend wisely, while parents keep an eye on kids' money habits. Greenlight also helps families get into their fall routine with a chores feature that lets parents assign chores and pay kids allowance when they check them off. Get your first month free at greenlight.com/Spotify. Greenlight.com/Spotify.
Voters have the chance to vote again in November for funding for the 2025-2026 school year. If this levy fails again, will the pay-to-play fee continue?
That's a really good question. I am not a part of the school board. I'm not a teacher at Caldwell High School. But it's not necessarily, it's about the Caldwell voters, sure. But most people, if you tell them, hey, this fee is going to education, it's going to your kids, the vast majority of the Caldwell population has either, they either are parents and have a kid in the school system, or they've had a kid in their school system. If you tell them that if you don't vote for this levy, these are going to be the ramifications, most likely, most people are going to vote yes, right? They're going to pay the $140 average dollar cost based on the average property value in Caldwell a year, so that kids can have Caldwell police officers at school available to them if they need to. They don't have to close an entire elementary school, right? I'd say most people are pretty reasonable in that way. So it's not necessarily about the voters. It's about the failure of the media and communications department at the school board. They failed to appropriately canvass the town and educate them about the levy that was at stake. I'm a school district employee, technically, right? I'm a coach. Mm-hmm. They have my email. They have my social security number. They know where I live. They have my phone number. I didn't get a single communication informing me of the levy taking place. And I wondered, hey, maybe it was just a fluke that I didn't get those communications. So I went to the school board meeting and I asked, hey, did we do these things? Do we have access to some sort of mass text messaging software that we can send a message to all of the parents that currently have kids enrolled saying, hey, this is going to take place? Did we send an email out to all the teachers? Did we send an email out to all the parents? Did we go to all of the sports activities with pamphlets directly, like a representative from the school board? Did we organize with all of the coaches and say, hey, I'm here with the school district. Here's a pamphlet. Take this home to your mom and dad, and not necessarily tell them, hey, vote either way, but just inform them, hey, if this does not happen, this will happen.
Those students are so lucky to have such a great advocate in you and a community that seems like it is getting a little fired up and wanting to make sure that their children and the students of their community have a really quality education and sports and extracurricular experience.
Well, we all have a responsibility. I mean, we all benefited at some point from, the institution that is public education in some form or another, whether it was, a teacher that, took the extra time to help you out when, you were having a hard time, or a coach or whatever. And I benefited greatly from a very well-ran school system when I was in Nevada. So we all kind of have a responsibility to pay it forward. So, yeah.
I love it. Thank you so much for joining me today, Alexis.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
That's all for today here on CityCast Boise. If you enjoyed the show, you should subscribe to our Hey Boise newsletter. We'll be back tomorrow morning with a big change that could be coming to Latah Street on the bench. Catch you then.